Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care. In the bustling heart of downtown, Galactic Grind was a cafe renowned for its quirky charm. Think mismatched furniture and a dazzling array of alien-inspired beverages named after constellations. Amid the clatter of cups and the murmur of conversations, a striking figure entered, drawing curious glances from patrons. Zylara stood out with luminescent skin that shimmered like stardust, and large captivating eyes that seemed to hold entire galaxies within them. Freshly arrived on Earth from the planet Ilithia, she wore a flowing gown that seemed to change colors in the light, instantly enchanting those nearby. However, under the surface, she was fraught with anxiety about the cultural complexities of Earth. Across the room, Jack sat hunched over his laptop, typing furiously. An artist at heart, he was caught in the cycle of freelance work that left little time for creativity and even less for cash flow. He sighed in frustration, his shoulder-length hair falling into his eyes as he rubbed his temples. He chewed the end of his pen, considering another month of rent and bills on the horizon. Zylara approached his table, her vibrant presence commanding attention. Jack looked up, apparently startled at first, spilling a bit of his overpriced drink. "Oops," he exclaimed, quickly grabbing a napkin. "I am Zylara of Ilithia," she said, her voice smooth as honey, with a slight accent that piqued Jack's interest. "And you are, Jack?" Jack blinked. Yeah, how do you know my name?" "I overheard your conversation about financial challenges. I have an unusual proposition for you." She swept her gaze towards the cafe window, letting a surge of confidence flow through her. "I need a fake husband for 1 week, and I am willing to pay handsomely." Jack raised an eyebrow, intrigued and confused. "Fake husband? Why in the world would you need that?" "To blend in," she replied, leaning in closer, her breath a mix of exotic spices and sweet citrus. "I must attend several diplomatic events, and the humans may find my single status alarming." Jack chuckled, the absurdity of the situation striking him as humorously surreal. "Oh, so you need me to pretend to be your husband to avoid awkward questions?" "Exactly," Zylara said, a playful smile forming on her lips. "Consider it a role, an acting role. You are an artist, yes? This will be a practice in your trade." He leaned back in his chair, intrigued. "Well, what's the pay? Because honestly, I could use the cash." $5,000, Zylara stated, her eyes sparkling. Jack nearly choked on his coffee. $5,000? "Indeed," she replied, her expression serious, yet her demeanor was anything but. "Consider it a small investment for your time." A mix of excitement and disbelief coursed through him. The money alone was tempting, but the idea of playing the part of a husband to someone so captivating had an irresistible draw. "All right," he said, his adventurous spirit kicking in. "I'm in." They shook hands, sealing the arrangement, and the moment their palms touched, an electric charge seemed to pass between them, both feeling a spark of something more than just an exchange of services. The next day found Jack standing outside Zylara's apartment, a mix of anxiety and excitement swirling in his stomach. He had never been so nervous before a meeting, not even for the most important client presentation of his life. The sun beamed down, creating an almost ethereal glow around Zylara as she stepped into view, her dress accentuating her every curve and making her look like she stepped straight from a sci-fi film. "Ah, Jack," she exclaimed in her exquisite accent, her large, multi-hued eyes shining with excitement. "You look rather human." Thanks? You look, well, alien." Jack grinned, trying to lighten the moment. Zylara tilted her head, puzzled. "You find me attractive?" "Definitely," he replied, unexpectedly feeling a flush creep up his cheeks. "Excellent," she said, her voice dripping with delight. "Then we shall proceed as planned." The day began with a casual stroll through the city. Zylara was learning the rhythms of Earth, her eyes wide with wonder at everything. Jack, trying to be the perfect guide, pointed out street vendors and local artists, but Zylara had her own quirks, asking nonsensical questions that both perplexed and amused him. "Is it customary to greet every human with a physical embrace?" she posed, observing a couple sharing a hug outside a small bistro. Not everyone," Jack laughed. "Only friends and loved ones. Or if you're taking advantage of some sweet charisma." Zylara raised an eyebrow and responded, I have noticed that humans employ charms to achieve desired outcomes. Guess that puts me at a disadvantage, huh? He joked. During lunch, they visited a diner famous for its oversized milkshakes. As they sat in a booth, Zalara observed the menu as if it were a strange book filled with riddles. What is a double cheeseburger? Well, it's 2 patties of beef with cheese on top. It's pretty amazing, Jack explained. Is it a form of weapon? She asked innocently, her gaze earnest. A weapon? Jack nearly laughed. No, it's just food. Best not to use it as a projectile, though. She considered this, nodding seriously. A very curious weapon. As the day progressed, they continued their antics. At a park, Zalara tried to imitate local kids on a swing, nearly toppling off and causing Jack to burst into uncontrollable laughter. The light-hearted atmosphere eased the initial nerves, allowing Jack to comfortably step into the role of her husband. But after hours of laughter and ridiculous anecdotes, as they sat waiting for the bus home, an unexpected awkward silence fell. Zalara turned to Jack, her expression earnest. Have you ever felt completely out of place? Constantly, Jack admitted, recognizing the vulnerability in her tone. But you seem to fit right in your own way. Zalara glanced down, her unearthly beauty highlighted by the soft evening glow. Perhaps, but there is still much I do not understand. Their eyes locked, and the moment stretched, both feeling the palpable tension in the air. Jack suddenly realized that they weren't just pretending anymore. There was something real unfolding between them, charged and electric. I think we'll figure it out together, he said, breaking the moment before it became too intense, nervous that he might say something too honest. She smiled, bright and reassuring as the bus approached. Yes, together. With the butterflies from the last few days still fluttering in his stomach, Jack arrived at the park where the mock wedding was to take place. Zalara's choice of venue was unexpected, a serene organization of trees and blooms where the sunlight filtered down like a natural spotlight. Jack! Zalara called as he approached, her gown swirling around her as she turned. The garment was stunning, made of a fabric that shimmered with shifting colors. You are early. He looked at her, slightly speechless. Wow, you look incredible. Thank you. I have studied human marriage ceremonies, she replied, eyes wide as she twirled. This is very important. Jack could feel the corners of his mouth tugging upwards. Well, you definitely nailed the wedding dress part. As they began the imitation ceremony, they had no officiant. Just a couple of confused friends Zalara had rounded up, each more baffled than the last. Just pretend it's real, Zalara encouraged Jack with a grin. Right, he said, clearing his throat as he faced her with mock seriousness. Do you take this alien woman to be your wife, in sickness and in health? Zalara responded with her own serious tone, mimicking Jack's voice. I do, or I will. Is that not how it goes? Yes, well, sort of, he laughed, taking a breath. The whole scene felt so absurd that it let tension slip away. Pushing through his laughter, he hastily adopted the more serious demeanor. You look beautiful, my alien bride. Thank you. Her expression grew serious, captivating in a way that made his heart race. The ceremony unfolded with traditional vows and humorous adjustments. As Zalara pretended to follow along, her genuine confusion over the rituals made Jack chuckle. When they were instructed to exchange rings, Zalara hesitated, pulling a small alien trinket from her pocket instead of an actual ring. It is a token of protection from Alithia, she proclaimed proudly, holding out the small alien trinket. Jack sighed with laughter. Close enough, he said, accepting it and placing it on her finger with a flourish. I hereby declare you my wife, for a week or until contract termination. The guests erupted into laughter, while Zalara clapped her hands joyfully. You are a fine human husband, she cheered, raising her arms in triumph. With triumphant smiles, they posed for pictures, pulling faces and creating poses that made Jack feel more alive than ever. Zalara continued her alien antics by pulling him close for an exaggerated romantic moment, causing him to blush as the camera clicked. But amid the laughter, a moment of unexpected intimacy arose. They shared open-hearted glances that lingered too long, signaling something more than just play acting. Shall we seal this union with a... Jack began but stopped suddenly. He could feel her warmth, and the inhibitions fell away. They leaned in closer, lips almost touching. Just then, a guest interrupted, shouting, "It's time for the cake cutting." The spell broke, bringing them back into the moment. Wanting to remain flirty, Jack trapped Xylara's hand in his, pulling her close with a cheeky smile. "Cake? You really know how to treat a husband well." Moments later, as they shoveled cake into each other's faces with playful abandon, he couldn't help but think how surreal this whole situation was. It wasn't just a performance anymore. They were building a connection, one piece of laughter, cake, and scandalously flirty moments at a time. As Xylara smeared icing on his cheek, Jack realized he was only beginning to understand the depth of their connection and how exhilaratingly real it felt within this facade. The weeks rolled by with laughter and shared experiences, each outing igniting their chemistry. Jack marveled at how easy it was to blend in as Xylara's fake husband, despite the odd looks they often received. One sunny afternoon, their first stop was a bustling street market. Xylara was in awe as they walked through the stalls, captivated by everything. The bright colors, the loud chatter, the aromas wafting through the air. Jack watched in amusement as she inspected an array of odd trinkets, each one drawing her in like a moth to a flame. "Jack, what is this peculiar spherical item?" Xylara exclaimed, holding up a bright orange-spotted ball. "That's a stress ball," he explained with a grin, "supposed to help you relax." "But it is not a weapon?" Xylara frowned, her finger poking the stress ball. "A weapon? No, it's just for squeezing to relieve stress, you know." He laughed, enjoying her curious nature. After meandering through the market, they stumbled upon a fortune-teller's tent. Xylara's eyes sparkled with curiosity. "This I must try." Jack raised an eyebrow, but found himself getting dragged inside. The teller, a husky woman with stacks of scarves around her neck, looked them over and said, "Ah, what a strange couple we have here. Are you interested in your future together?" Xylara's excitement bubbled over. "Yes, tell us about our destiny." As the teller examined their palms, Jack couldn't help but wonder how a fake marriage could evolve into something so real. The suspense heightened as the woman's eyes widened. "You two are meant for something grand, a situation that will change the cosmos," Xylara gasped. "A grand destiny," she echoed, clapping her hands together. Jack chuckled, rolling his eyes playfully. Or maybe just a cosmic misadventure. Leaving the tent, Xylara was more giddy than ever. "We must be careful, Jack. The universe might be watching." "And you've unleashed a fate no one could predict," he responded, grinning as they proceeded to the next vendor. Later, they found themselves on vibrant benches, watching street performers. Xylara, entranced by a juggler, time-traveled through her fantasies. "These performers are remarkable. How do they achieve such wonders?" "Practice, I guess," Jack shrugged, admiring her rapt attention. "You could learn a thing or two from them." After a few hours of exploration, they decided on a food truck known for its fusion tacos. As they settled at a bench, laden with colorful creations, Xylara's expression was one of serious contemplation. "This is Earth food?" she asked, her eyes scanning the glories on her plate. "It seems quite cluttered." "What do you mean?" Jack looked obviously amused. "Is it not rude to combine so many textures and flavors?" she mused, probing the taco with her finger. Jack laughed. "Not at all. That's the fun. You take things you love and mix them to see what happens." With ample laughter and down-to-earth bickering, they immersed themselves in playful banter, experiencing new flavors. Xylara, overcome with the myriad of tastes, started to experiment with her food. "Jack, you must try this combination. It's life-altering," she said, cramming her taco with bizarre ingredients from their spread. "Okay, but don't say I didn't warn you when I have a meltdown from your life-altering concoction," he joked, dipping into his taco. She leaned close, her breath hot against his cheek. "I will keep our magical flavors safe, husband." After lunch, they roamed further, Xylara coaxing Jack into trying on ridiculous items at various vendor booths. "Look, this hat makes you look like a lumpy potato," she laughed, placing a comically oversized hat on his head. "Lumpy potato? I prefer dashing," he responded, striking a pose that made her cackle. As the day faded, they found themselves in the park, sitting on a blanket, sharing stories about dreams, art, and family. Zilara's voice softened, and she shared tales of her people. Jack reciprocated with funny anecdotes from his childhood. "Tell me about your worst date," she prompted playfully, then added, "I must understand this human concept." Jack laughed, preparing to share a tale of disastrous proportions, when suddenly he noticed how close they'd become. The late afternoon sunlight bathed them in warmth, illuminating Zilara's features. Instead of laughing, he leaned closer, their faces just inches apart. "Well, one time I took a girl to a fancy restaurant and accidentally spilled spaghetti on her. Not my finest moment." Zilara's laughter danced with the soft wind, light and airy. "Your human dating rituals are fascinating." The connection between them pulsed in the air, hanging on to laughter as they leaned closer, time encapsulated in that moment, before the world seemed to rush back in, shaking them both from their reverie. Days turned into weeks, and an undeniable chemistry simmered under the surface every time Jack and Zilara were together. Their outings became more daring, each new adventure pulling them closer in unforeseen ways. On one particularly warm evening, they decided to take a stroll down to the beach. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow across the water and creating a picturesque backdrop. "Look, the stars are emerging," Zilara breathed, her eyes shimmering as she pointed. "How magical." Jack couldn't help but feel a tingle of excitement as her enthusiasm spilled over. "Yeah, and there's a whole world waiting out there." "Is there not a risk with such worlds?" she asked seriously. "Do humans fear what lies beyond?" "Sometimes," he admitted, gazing at her with an open heart. There was something about her alien nature that fascinated him, defying his understanding in the greatest ways. "Tell me, Jack, what is it you really want in life?" Zilara probed, her gaze penetrating as they settled down on the warm sand, knee-deep in their own reflections. "A real connection," he said honestly, contemplating his words. "Not just in relationships, but in art and creativity as well." "A connection?" Zilara echoed softly, and Jack could see a flicker of something cross her expression. "You seek understanding?" "Yeah, and it seems I've found a good place to start," he admitted, daringly glancing at her. Suddenly Zilara turned, their knees brushing together, an electric current coursing through the space. "Perhaps I too have learned much from you." Without thinking, Jack reached out, gently tucking a loose strand of her hair behind her ear. "You're pretty extraordinary, Zilara." She looked up, her gaze locking onto his, and for a moment, the distance between them vanished. Jack could feel his heart racing, urging him to close the gap as she leaned forward slightly. "Do you find me attractive, Jack?" Zilara asked, her voice a sultry whisper. "Definitely," he responded, his breath hitching slightly, lost in the depths of her gaze. Then, caught in that moment, they both leaned in a fraction closer, breath mingling under the fading light. They were dancing on the precipice, teetering over a line defined by their shared laughter, misunderstandings, and undeniable chemistry. Just when their lips were about to meet, an unrelenting group of beachgoers burst into laughter nearby, shattering the intimacy. Jack pulled back, flustered, and Zilara chuckled, her cheeks tinged with something he couldn't quite place. "Seems our burgeoning connection is interrupted," she teased, her playful nature resurfacing like a buoy in tempestuous waters. "Yeah, I suppose we could avoid those awkward moments for a little longer," Jack replied, a nervous chuckle escaping as he rubbed the back of his neck. Nevertheless, the evening turned adventurous as they wandered down to the water, kicking sand and laughing, the tension lingering unspoken between them. As they splashed in the waves, Zilara's laughter echoed through the night air, contagious and joyful. "Your human traditions of water play are fascinating," she exclaimed, twisting in the surf as she emerged, water cascading down her skin in shimmering trails. "Just part of the beach experience," he called back with a grin. "You gotta dive into it." Jack dared to grab her hand, pulling her into deeper water. In that shared motion, something seemed entirely too natural. Their playful splashes grew more intense, mirroring their feelings, drawing them even closer. But then, somewhere amid the glee, Zilara lost her footing, tumbling toward him in a surprise splash. Jack reflexively caught her, and in the flurry of water and laughter, they were entangled momentarily. Their faces hovered closely again, electric awareness crackling as that magnetic pull surged between them like fireworks. They could witness our secret connection, Zylara joked, breathless from laughter and surprise. Yeah, let them think we're just playing, Jack teased. It'll just seem like a crazy beach day. But inside, that wild, uncontrollable energy roared. The dam had broken. There was no denying their spark. Zylara brushed her fingertips along his cheek, her soft touch igniting a heat traversing through him. What would it be like to kiss you, she mused, eyes sparkling mischievously, her confidence spilling over again. Oh, so you're the bold one now? Jack quipped, though his own heart pounded rapidly as they stood near, caught up in the magnetic wave of attraction thrumming through the salty air. They didn't kiss that night, but the unsaid words floated between them like the tide. Instead, they fell into playful banter, knowing that something fundamental had transformed within their hearts, a bridge that would ultimately push them towards something beyond this faux marriage. As their time together grew, so did complications. Jack's feelings for Zylara deepened, yet with it came an undercurrent of uncertainty. At the next event, a trendy art exhibition showcasing mixed media work, Zylara strolled beside him, commanding attention with every step. Socializing with the elite showcased another layer of her charm, but it also revealed her alien nature. Jack watched her transform into a captivating enigma in this highbrow setting, drawing people in with her eager curiosity. Yet, amidst their comfortable banter, Jack noticed Luca, a suave, silver-haired alien diplomat, approach Zylara with undeniable charm. He greeted her with a flourish that made Jack's gut twist with jealousy. Ah, my lovely Elythian, you simply shine among these dull earthlings. Zylara smiled politely while Jack's mood swirled into discontent. He tried to remind himself they were pretending, but as Jack observed the way Luca leaned a little too close, whispering something into Zylara's ear, he could feel his inner jealousy bubble to the surface. Jack, look, Luca remembers the fisheye technique of blending colors, Zylara exclaimed, oblivious to the tension growing within him, her eyes alight with admiration. Right, so maybe the fusion we were looking for just became fusion between colors, Jack replied, swallowing his irritation with sarcasm. Yes, Zylara chimed, clapping her hands. He is quite knowledgeable, and likely very interested in more than just art, Jack muttered under his breath. Did you say something? She asked, her curious gaze piercing into him. Nothing, just, looks intense, he said evasively. Luca, catching the note of distaste in Jack's tone, smirked slyly. Ah, Jack, you don't mind sharing her brilliant mind, do you? Jack forced a smile, but inside he felt like a volcano about to explode. As long as you keep it to art, Luca. Otherwise, we might have an issue. Boys, Zylara shouted, delighted by their banter. Let us focus on the art. That is what brought us here. As the evening progressed, Jack tried to find ways to re-engage her. He continued to check the distance between Luca and Zylara, wishing angrily that he had the confidence to stroll in and claim his ground. Hey, do you want a better drink? He offered lightly. Let's find something unique to Earth. Oh, yes, Zylara replied, intrigued. I want to learn more. As they moved away from Luca, Jack finally found a moment to address his frustration. You know, I've got your back, right? He said, his tone attempting to mask the deep-seated irritation brewing within him. She looked puzzled. Of course. Why would you not? It's just that not everyone who talks to you has the best intentions, he muttered, half-heartedly trying to sound like he knew something about the nature of jealousy. But they are merely offering friendship, Zylara exclaimed, tossing her hair back dramatically. I find them all fascinating. Should I disregard anyone who is intrigued? Before Jack could answer, he noticed Luca approaching once more, a devious smile plastered on his lips. I've been meaning to inquire about our cultural differences. Perhaps we could discuss our interests, alone? Luca's gaze lingered on Zylara, ignoring Jack's presence entirely. Jack clenched his jaw, feeling the volcano erupt now. We're kinda busy, he replied, determination flaring. Let's focus on enjoying the art instead, huh? Zylara shifted between them, confusion clouding her features. Wait, who is the better teacher if not the one who knows? That was the breaking point for Jack. You don't have to entertain every offer, Zylara. Sometimes you can just say no, he snapped, the frustration oozing from him. Zalara's eyes widened, surprised at Jack's outburst. I'm not a possession. We are partners, aren't we? Yes, but can't we also have some boundaries? Jack replied, struggling with the friction that had transformed their playful dynamic into something fraught. As the tension drew palpable, Zalara's face flushed with a mix of confusion and annoyance. I thought we were enjoying the company of others as free spirits. Sure, he responded inadequately, the residue of anger and jealousy winding up in his throat. But I just want to ensure that if we're pretending to be a couple, it feels real. But it cannot be real if you chain me, she argued back, her voice cutting through the tension sharp as a knife. Hurt filled Jack's heart as concern washed over him. Would it be this complicated to share authenticity with someone whose existence was beyond his comprehension? The moment hung in the air, neither willing to compromise, both caught in the whirlpool of emotions until Zalara turned on her heel, disappearing into the crowd of art lovers. Jack stood there, simmering with frustration, ultimately feeling more alone than ever despite the din of the party encompassing him. The few days following the art exhibition were fraught with tension, leaving Jack feeling as though they were two ships passing in the night. They avoided deep conversations, coasting through their routines until a night of destiny unfolded. Zalara took him to a quiet spot by the beach, the moonlight illuminating the waves reflecting like diamonds. The cool breeze brushed against Jack's face, and despite the stillness, the anger from their spat lingered. I needed to talk to you, Zalara said, her voice soft but unwavering, breaking the silence. I have been unsettled since our last meeting. Yeah, me too, Jack admitted, keenly aware of the heaviness in his heart. Why do you feel jealous? She asked, sidestepping directly to the crux of their conflict. Because I care about you. It's more than just this fake arrangement, he replied, keeping his gaze on the horizon, afraid to meet her eyes. What if our false facade is turned into something real? Zalara challenged, amusement dancing in her voice, but tinged with sincerity. Jack finally ventured a glance her way, realization dawning on him. What do you mean? You've come to mean something beyond mere pretense, she said, her voice dropping an octave. I feel alive with you, Jack. There's a spark I cannot ignore. His heart raced. But do you mean it? Even after everything? Yes, you illuminate a light in me. She paused, gathering her thoughts. And I can see it in you too, the intertwining of two destinies. Caught between vulnerability and illumination, Jack's pulse quickened. I guess I was afraid of being rejected. Why would you be rejected? Zalara pressed on. In my world, the bold and genuine are highly regarded. I strive to understand your planet's customs but don't wish to renegotiate who I am. Her words struck a chord deep within him. I suppose I'm just worried that I wouldn't fit into your world, he breathed, feeling the chasm between their realities. You deserve someone well-versed in whatever grand mission lies ahead. Zalara stepped closer, her expression grave yet intense. I do not require anyone but you. The understanding of love transcends culture. It resides within us. Jack felt the weight of vulnerability hanging between them, her words igniting passion as they drifted nearer. You really mean that? He breathed, sincerity shining in his eyes. Every word, Zalara whispered, and I wish to explore it fully. I may be an alien, but my heart beats like yours. The implications hung thick as moments blossomed into a palpable intimacy. Jack reached out, brushing his fingers against Zalara's arm, igniting a current between them. His gaze fell from the moonlit sky to her vibrant eyes, capturing infinity within them. You know, we never really kissed, he said, his heart racing while the tension surged. Then shall we change that? Zalara's eyes sparkled mischievously, a silhouette framed by the shimmering stars surrounding them. As anticipation built, they closed the distance, breaths mingling, hearts racing. Words faded, replaced by vulnerability and desire, and the world dropped away. In that electrifying moment, they kissed, a tender, potent collision that felt like a celestial alignment. The warmth of connection surged, and as their lips met, the magic sparked through the air. Every nerve tingled, awakening a world far beyond the setup of their faux marriage, leading them to the depths of genuine emotion. Hands found their way to one another, anchored in newfound trust. This kiss, a promise, a revelation. After their passionate encounter, the reality of their bond only tightened, and Jack and Zalara decided to visit her home planet, Ilithia. Zalara broached the idea casually, but Jack felt a healthy fear of the unknown roll through him. "I really want to meet your family, Zalara, but what if they think I'm just a human joke?" Jack expressed his concern. "Nonsense, they will find you intriguing, strange perhaps, but exciting," Zalara responded, her eyes filled with delight. "It will be an adventure." Enveloped in the confidence radiating off her, Jack agreed. A few days later, he stood before a swirling portal of light, pumped with thrill yet anxious about stepping into another world. "Welcome to Ilithia," Zalara proclaimed, leading him through the portal easily. The sights ignited his senses. A landscape of colors beyond earthly comprehension spread before him, each exotic plant emanating luminescent energy. "Wow," he gasped, attempting to process the beauty. "This is incredible," Zalara beamed proudly, her hand clasped in his, guiding him deeper into her world. "Here, we celebrate the Festival of Colors, a celebration of life and unity." As they neared the celebration, Jack was greeted by the vibrant sounds of laughter, music, and sights more fantastical than he could have imagined. Families gathered around tables displaying all sorts of foods, including dishes that glowed softly with color. "Do not be shy," Zalara encouraged, pulling him further into the festivities. "This is your chance to experience our culture." People noticed them, some staring at the peculiar human with Zalara, but most simply welcomed them warmly. The first family they approached embraced them, showering Jack with compliments and playful ribbing for being Zalara's Earth ally. "Is he your husband?" a playful elder teased. Jack felt heat wash over his face, recalling their recent connection. "Yes," Zalara nodded, her voice playful, holding his hand tighter. "And soon he will learn our ways." After sampling astonishing blue food called zurf, Jack felt the need to exclaim, "What is this? It's amazing." Zalara grinned, reflecting pride. "Zurf binds energy of the universe. It's the essence of connection." Then came the highlight of the festival, a cosmic dance where colors swirled through the air, enveloping everyone in a blend of delight. With Zalara leading, they joined hands, twirling through the music, filled with exuberant energy that coursed through him. The rhythm pulsed, drawing them closer together, and Jack found himself lost in a dance he couldn't quite understand, yet felt completely natural. "Let's embrace our connection," Zalara shouted, her face flushed with happiness. Under the canopy of swirling colors and laughter, Jack noticed their connection deepen. His heart raced as laughter spilled from their lips, expanding out around them. Their hands remained intertwined, pulling one another as they swayed and twirled in carefree joy. But then a sudden shift in the atmosphere caught Jack's attention. A man approached, his demeanor imposing. He kept his eyes locked on their interlinked fingers, pressing through the festive energy surrounding them. "Zalara," he called sharply, his tone laced with authority. "What brings you to dance with this human?" Jack felt a hint of tension ripple through the crowd as Zalara tightened her grip on him, unperturbed. "He is my husband," she declared boldly. The man sneered, yet before he could respond, Zalara stepped forward. "This is not merely human. He embodies understanding and creativity." Every worry fluttered through Jack as he stood rooted behind Zalara, feeling exposed yet supported. Was this the ultimate test? He had anticipated challenges, but not this level of scrutiny. To strengthen their bond, Jack stepped forward. "I may be human, but I'm only here to understand and share," he said, steadying his voice. "Zalara's world is beautiful." The room remained silent, the tension palpable as the festival paused in a charged moment. All eyes on him, he could feel the weight of his vulnerability, yet held Zalara's gaze, steady and trusting. Laughter erupted from a distance, breaking the ice, and the elder from earlier chimed in. "He sounds charming. If our Zalara has chosen him, we should see his heart unfold before us." The collective tension dissipated, and Jack felt Zalara's proud smile. "See, we are all connected by curiosity and wonder." With renewed energy, Jack rejoined the dance, laughter spilling amidst the colors and the crowd. In this alien world, he felt anchored beside Zilara. Whatever the outcome of this trial, they had each other, overcoming adversity and clinging on to love. After navigating Ilithia's challenges and the unexpected introduction to Zilara's family, Jack felt an exhilarating rush course through him. The colorful festival had grounded their bond, forging an unwavering connection. As the dance concluded, Zilara took his hand and led him toward a serene spot overlooking magnificent landscapes. "You handled them with such grace," she praised. "Honestly, I was trembling inside," Jack admitted, a chuckle escaping him. "But with you by my side, it made everything worthwhile." "A true husband supports his wife," Zilara replied confidently, her eyes twinkling under the radiant stars. "Even if that wife is an alien." They both laughed, the sound echoing through the air. Sitting beside each other, Jack reveled in their shared comfort. Long moments passed, the serene nature surrounding them embracing their connection entirely. "Zilara, I've been thinking," Jack started cautiously, meeting her gaze. "This experience has opened my eyes. You've shown me the beauty of the universe, and I don't want it to be one wild adventure." "Jack, this has transcended boundaries," she interrupted, taking his hand. "You are part of my world now." A sudden rush of honesty surged within him. "I want us to be real, to step beyond the pretense of a fake marriage." Zilara's features lit up in disbelief, her heart racing in tandem with his. "Do you mean it? You wish to be my real husband?" "Yes," he affirmed, inching closer, the warm breeze surrounding them as gravity pulled their connection taut. "I love you, Zilara. I want to be with you no matter where in the universe. I want to explore life together truly." Her essence transformed, glowing with brilliant joy. "You have enchanted me, Jack, and I willingly embrace you as my life partner, wherever it may take us." "Ilithia or Earth, I choose you," he said softly. In that moment they closed the distance, feeling the warmth of their bond engulf them. As their lips met, a powerful rush enveloped them, igniting the cosmic connection like a supernova. The quiet beach beneath their feet mirroring the pounding waves, swirling with wonder. Their kiss unfolded into something deeper, an expression of real love forged in the fires of adventure and understanding. As they shared this intimate moment, Zilara became grounded by immensity, the world disappearing around them, leaving only them, two souls twined together against the backdrop of infinity. Eventually, laughter broke their embrace as they shared in the joy of their love story unfolding. Friends and family emerged from the festival light, embracing both with cheers, welcoming Jack into the fold. "Welcome to Ilithia, our newest family member," one of the elders declared, raising a glass of shimmering liquid as Jack took Zilara's hand solidly in his. Side by side, they knew their journey had only just begun, their undeniable bond thriving through each aspect of their lives, built upon laughter, understanding, exploration, and eventually, love, a love that fused two worlds eternally together. As the music swelled around them, celebrating new unions and futures, they stepped into the future hand in hand, prepared to embrace the wild adventure of life together.